All right, so I think it's important to understand that Bitcoin is still technically and most likely in a correction, right? And not in an impulsive situation. The reason why I keep going over this is because we put it all on the Bitcoin floor also. This is on linear currently. When we look at this as a possible 1-2 stacking off the lows and going into 3-4 stacking, that's why we were so okay with this being a bigger range of a correction, right? And that's why we were like, hey, maybe the ABC flat is something to give a little bit of credit to. You'll notice that the 0.236 taken from the gold circle wave 2 low to the gold circle wave 3 high falls around 100K. The other thing you should notice is that, number one, you've completed the minimum, right? You swept the lows of A as a C wave. But due to this way that price action was building from the top down, like posted in the Bitcoin floor this morning, I side with this being 1-2 stacking. Whether you want to say it's 1 into 2 over here, or 1 into 2, 1 into 2, 1 into 2. Whether you make it triple or double, I really don't care. The thing to focus on, and just like we put in the Bitcoin trading floor, was you saw this range here, right? So we're going to likely get those ranges for the respective degree wave 3s into 4s, at least 2 of them, right? So at some point, I would fully expect we're likely going to eat up a lot of this wick, if not all of it, and then retrace and come down and retrace and come down. I'm really open to the fact that Bitcoin could lose 100 grand and it would still be okay. We talked about this in our other stream before we caught on to the high B wave. Eventually, where's my fucking thing? This is why. So if this is a high B wave waiting on a C, this is just the beginning of a C wave, right? Let me move this and readjust our drawings because we've expanded since we've drawn. And you can see clearly there was a CME gap here way back. Now, I'm not saying that's going to get filled. I just do think on a daily having that there is kind of like something to be watching out for. Now, you can also see here on the 4-hour, you have a really small gap from that weekend that got left behind. That could very well get revisited, but CME is closed right now, so that's why this isn't moving. So technically, with you being outside of those hours, let me get back to my regular chart. Everything you're seeing is outside of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange's hours of CME operation. So we close on Friday up there, and then it dumps all throughout a weekend. You're likely to work towards recovery of that CME gap during the following week. So what I think is important to understand here is that with these ranges, we should see these ranges to the downside also. It was quite a graphic sell-off, but I do think it's something that we knew was coming, and I think you knew it was coming because when we talked about this on multiple live streams, one of the micro scenarios that we had, and I won't get too far in the weeds here, was what if you were starting a wave 1 diagonal to the downside, right? We were looking for a short. But instead of that, they they made it super hard to count. They kept it on a micro. They went 1-2 stacking, in my opinion, and now looking for the downside. When we pulled a retracement from the high to the low of A, we can see the 105 of our expanded B template became resistance. And like a typical B wave, it also gave you a regular bearish divergence, meaning higher highs on price action, but not on the RSI, right? So that was another key indicator. Now, like we talked about earlier also, let me go back to log, and let's go to an 8-hour here while we're zoomed in. This was my Bitcoin long from 110 to 700, or it was 110, 270, I think is where my long was from. I said that I would be excuse my last click. I said I would be around 75% or 76% out of my long, excuse me. I believe by the 1.236. Now we got a ton more after that. We talked about the 126 range. I really thought we would get the high 126, but they front run it and stopped us at the 105. So in my opinion, to get the lows on something like this, or what we should see is any sort of probable low, we want this to continue the knife fall, and then you want a range, and continue a knife fall, and then a range, and then a final low. That way these 1, 2, 1, 2s give 3, 4, 3, 4, and a final fifth. All right, so I do think we tickle down to 100K, if not lose it with some sort of liquidation wick like you saw here, right? So that would be, this is truly what I'm looking for the most right now, right? So I am currently short. I think on average, my average short to the downside right now is somewhere right in here with my DCA. So I'm going to continue to look for the downside. I'm going to continue to stay focused towards those targets for right now. Does anybody have any questions over that? You can just type them in the chat if you want. Sorry. All right, so what time frame would give the best depiction of that move? Great question. So because you can see, I'm going to delete some of this just so we can see, you can rewatch this later. When I initially sent you that chart today, I think I was on like a 15-minute when I started saying, hey, we're seeing 1, 2 stacking from the downside. That was this morning. Let me go check in the Discord. And I believe I was on a 15-minute time frame. Let me zoom up. I apologize, guys. I just want to make sure I'm sharing the correct info with you. Yeah, so that was was actually on the hourly, and it looks like it was this morning around 10:20. So let's go back over there. So around 10:20, 8, 9, 10. So somewhere right in here is when we were starting to really think the 1, 2s were happening. I think this is the time frame to be on. Now, I want you to understand how to invalidate things as well as validate them. So if this is 1 into 2, you do what you want, whether you want to put this here or over here or in a different position. I really don't care what you do. Just put the 2 somewhere. Now, maybe you've seen the wave 3, maybe, and you're looking for 4 and 5. So for invalidation, it's as simple as a retracement fib of the wave 4 variety from the high of a 2 to the low of a current 3, and you just turn on your 0.618 added to that. I like to make it red just so you know that where invalidation is. So I would say for right now, if you see Bitcoin start to really break upward and take back 117,356, then maybe you can start to claim that the 3-4 stacking isn't coming. But for right now, I really, really do think it is. The other reason I side with it is because if we pull a regular base channel from 1 to 2, you can see we've clearly left it, right? With no back test to that base channel at all. You even had some little respect at the bottom. I would just be waiting for this to be over with. I don't think this is over. I don't think the altcoins have finished their pain. I'm not looking to buy back. The other thing that I want to show you, first I'll go check, see if that's helpful, Brian, with the time frame explanation really quickly. All right. Yes. All right. Long as everything's looking good. We are team players. All right. I explained that. Cool. All right. Now the other thing. Yeah. And Monday's going to be a big day, man. This is the other thing that I really want us to understand is time within our Elliott wave fibs as the trifecta. So using your trend-based time fib, this is linear, right? So it doesn't have to be on the points. You can go from from the high relative to its time to the low to the high. A C wave likes to finish this by 1.618. So according to time, if this is A into B and we're looking for C, we're looking out somewhere around the 4th of November, right? Now, can it get over sooner? Sure. But what I would like to say is that when we're watching structures in Elliott wave move, something to be aware of is if you're watching 1-2s from the upside, and you're like, this is 1, 2, 1, 2. The 3-4s are bigger than the 1-2s, so you'll end up with a 3 and a 4 and a 3 and a 4. This one might even backtest the prior degree, and then a final 5th. So you can see how you end up with this like wedging tightening and a wedging broadening, right? And this is kind of where we get that megaphone pattern at the bottom and then finally break upwards, right? So that is critical to understand, because I think that's what we're really going to be looking for here, is that we have this narrowing range, and down here we're going to look for a widening range and then a final 5th, right? So I do think, like we talked about earlier in the stream, our regular supports of 1 through 1.382 are really relative to this, and we have to keep them in mind. But I think the thing to understand is that it is a macro healthy correction, right? Wave 4s typically get bigger in time than the preceding wave 4, right? So if this is the current wave 4, well, the preceding wave 4, let me make sure I zoom out enough so I don't misquote this. The preceding wave 4 took about 77 days, right? So we've been in this guy for a little bit. Let's measure it. We should expect at least 77. 61, 68, 73, 77. 77 days would land us on the end of October. That is just before our November 4th 1.618 time fib that we spoke about, right? So that gives it an 82-day correction altogether. So still a very healthy correction. And the main thing that we're also going to be looking for, let me delete everything so we can understand this, is a hidden bull divergence at a certain point, right? So you typically look for a wave 4 and a wave 2 to have hidden bull divergence with each other. They didn't give that to us in this 1-2 stacking with the 3-4s up here this time. But I do think we're going to continue to reset this RSI and kind of backtest that 30 level, right? At that point in time, you would be making a really good possible hidden divergence with way back here. I don't think you're going to get, it's same degree wave 4s, or excuse me, same degrees wave 2's low. Let's put that on so you can see it. Just putting that there for right now. It's not, sorry, I don't want to freak you out. This is its wave 2 low of its RSI way over here. And that was a value of 43.31. And we're currently at 46, right? So we're nearly already hidden diverge with down here. So it's pretty good. Let's wait and let those micro ranges happen like we talked about in lower time frames. And then I think you start to strike, right? Until we see volume that depicts this C wave is over, which typically ends on high selling volume, and reaches targets. Until these things happen, I'm not interested. All right.